Hey guys, Josh here, and I recently played Survival Kids. If you're not sure what this is, you may remember it as the infamous game that froze the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, or if you've been playing video games for a long time, you may recognize it as the revival of an iconic series from Konami. Starting on the Game Boy Color, Survival Kids was one of the pioneers of the survival genre of games, which has become very popular in recent years. While the series was always called Survival Kids in Japan, in the West, it continued under the name Lost in Blue for its Nintendo DS and Wii releases, and now in 2025, we're back to Survival Kids worldwide for the Nintendo Switch 2. So just so we're all on the same page, Lost in Blue and Survival Kids, it is the same series. Personally, I absolutely loved Lost in Blue on the DS, played it so much, and I've been wanting for this series to come back ever since. My wish did come true, but at what cost? For this video, I played a few hours of the original game, then I tried the new one. I will show you how it went, give you my thoughts. Leave a like if you find it fun or interesting, and let's dive into it. If you have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, the original Survival Kids was recently added to the Game Boy Classics, and so that's where I'm playing it. I push start, create a new save file, choose between the boy and the girl, enter my name. The 8-bit music and sound effects ignite something inside of me. Makes me feel nostalgic even though I've never played the original version of this game, and the story begins. I have to admit, the story is a bit confusing. There is this huge cruise ship, and I don't know if this is a mistranslation, it probably is, but it says that my father and I are the only crew members on board, which doesn't make sense. I'm not too sure why we would be part of the crew, especially as this is a trip to celebrate my 10th birthday. Anyway, my dad gives me a knife, and of course, as you would expect, there's a storm and I get woken up by this monkey on the beach. The monkey runs away, and from now I have to figure things out on my own, which as you'll see is a big part of the experience. I investigate the grass, piles of sand, clams, rocks, sticks. There's also this big boulder, but I can't pick up or interact with most things. After a few minutes of running around and pressing all of the buttons for something to happen, I manage to find my backpack buried under a pile of sand, and in it is the precious knife I got from my dad, a radio, and a few matches. Now that I have a bag, I pick up some clams, cut some tall grass, and I find a canteen for water, which will be very important as this is, after all, a survival game. You can see in the menu here, there's a life meter which is like HP, as well as meters for hunger, water, and fatigue. I make it into the jungle, pick up a few resources, and do what you shouldn't do in any survival situation. Eat some random mushroom called color mush. Immediately, my stomach is bloated, and after a few seconds, I get confused, and all of my controls are switched around. Luckily, it goes back to normal pretty quickly, and it's actually really not the worst source of food. Even though it appears that I am the only human on this island so far, I find an abandoned hut, which will serve as my home. Inside, I can sleep, meaning I officially survived my first day. I can also save, and there is a storage chest, which I will be coming back to every few minutes because your bag is very small in this game. I start this new day by hunting for food. I'm hoping to find honey in this beehive, but instead I am the one getting hunted and poisoned by giant bees. I then manage to kill this rabbit with my knife. I pick up the meat, but I'm not quite sure how to cook it yet. As I search for a solution, I stumble upon the monkey that greeted me on this island. It runs away before I can do anything, but I find this river with fresh water that I can use to drink and fill up my canteen. Thanks to this, thirst is pretty easy to manage in this game. Time really flies, however, and it is night already. Before returning home, I meet with this deer, take his deer meat with my knife. Hunting is surprisingly easy, but managing food and inventory is not. My bag is full, yesterday's clams are already rotten. I drop them, grab the meat. I run back home, it is morning, I'm getting hungry, and I need to learn how to cook. I take a look at the merge menu, which is a crafting mechanic, where you can combine 2 or more items. There is no list of recipes anywhere in the game, so it is a matter of trial and error, which I think does add to the immersion of the survival experience. By merging a stick and a tree bark, I make a kindling, which I can use at any time to create a fire. Wow, it's warm, my character says, and now I can use that fire to burn the meat, which again is probably a little mistranslation quirk. The meat actually turns out good and fills me up. By now, I feel like I have a good grasp of the game mechanics. I'm getting used to the jungle life, until this tiger jumps at me in the middle of the night and introduces me to the jungle death. This brings me back to the title screen, which is why it is so important to save frequently. On my second attempt, I explore a bit more. I find another hut where I can sleep and save, and not too far from it, a needle thread, all in one word with a few letters missing, and a flexible tree suffering from the same issues. I tried to make a fishing rod, can't figure it out, but the flexible tree with some ivy makes a bow. I don't have any arrows yet to go with that bow, but I am making progress, and every day that I'm surviving in this game, I am learning something new. I then discover this swamp area with moving lily pads that don't seem to bring me anywhere useful for now, but here is a big stick. What I love about this game, along with most of its sequels, is that it's all about exploration. You find a new place with some sort of obstacle you obviously can't solve yet, but you keep it in mind, you gather items here and there, and eventually it all makes sense, you come back to that place, and then you can explore it deeper. So even though I can't do much in this swamp, now I have a big stick, and with it, I return to the beach from the very beginning, and I push the boulder that was there, which unlocks a shortcut to my house. I also move this other boulder, which opens a whole new part of the jungle, where I meet with the monkey once again. I'm excited to see him, he's not. He shoves me to the ground, steals my bag, and runs away. Without my bag now, I can't do much, and here I am, stuck in some sort of jungle maze. There's a pine tree that sticks out in the middle of the screen. I know it will be important later, and 4 paths I can take, 1 in each direction. I go up, there's a new screen with 4 paths again. I try going left, and I'm back to where the pine tree was. It is a bit of a puzzle, there's no unique audio or visual cues. I try my hardest not to look up any walkthroughs or guides online. It takes a while, but I eventually figure it out. And if you're wondering, the solution is up, right, down, and left. I meet with the monkey again, he throws me my bag. I collect some tree sap from the pine tree as I make my way out of the maze. And then I stumble upon my first cave. I go in, but I can't move until I have a torch, which I make using the tree sap and a stick. It is not enough, however, as I need to light the torch in order for it to work properly. I'm not too sure how you do that. I try different things in the menu, and the menu is very simple in this game. There's items, which is where you use all of your items. Then there's merge, which is where you craft. Map, that's the map. And lastly, stop game. So I'm navigating the menus, trying stuff. I want to go from the merge menu to the items menu, but I press a bit too fast and it goes all the way down to stop game. There is no confirmation whatsoever. If you press on that option once, it brings you back to the title screen and there's no coming back. A bit frustrating since my last save was before I moved all of the boulders with my big stick, so I have to redo the maze with the monkey, craft my torch, go back to the cave, but it is much faster when you know what you're doing. So now I'm back trying to light up the torch. I remember the matches that I did not get to use yet, I'm sure they're going to be used for something, but as I try interacting with them, it tells me they're wet and I can't do anything with them. I have another brilliant idea. I make a fire outside. Then I try using the torch the same way I burn meat, but to my surprise, my guy says, "Nah, I don't need this." What do you mean you don't need this? That's the point when I give up, and I look up a walkthrough posted on GameFAQs in 1999. Shout out to Shotgun Noval, let me know if you're still playing this game, what you think of the new Survival Kids. And it turns out, you have to first set the fire inside the cave where you can't even walk, and then use the torch there, which will allow you to walk, and you have to do that every time you enter a cave. A bit clunky, it would have taken me a while to find it on my own, but so far I've been doing pretty well, and I like how the game does not hold your hand. You have to actually use your brain, try different things, and once you get it, it is truly rewarding. After defeating a bat and running away from a scorpion, I make it to the other side of the cave. There I find the naughty little monkey again, but trees are blocking the way between me and him. In search of a solution, I go check this other cave, where conveniently there is some iron chunk, and with that I'm able to craft an axe, cut the trees. The monkey of course runs away, but this time he leaves behind a broken radio with some batteries. I return home, I have my dad's radio in storage, I transfer the batteries over, and as I wake up the next morning, after being stranded for 14 days, I hear something. As of today, the search for survivors has been called off. The world has officially given up on finding me. I then learned, thanks again to Shotgun Nova, that there were 8 different endings to this game, and there is a way to get saved with the radio, but it took me too long and I missed my chance for this playthrough. Now, as an alternative way to get out of here, my character suggests building a raft. For the next few days, I collect some nails and driftwood on the beach, tie everything together with some ivy, but I'm missing an important material, lumber. I do have an axe, but I never found any lumber, and I don't know where to go. I explore as much as I can, I try sleeping in this hut, but I don't get much rest as strange noises keep me up at night. In the morning, I stumble upon a human skeleton. Then I drink some dirty water by accident, I make it out alive, but the more I see of this place, the more dangerous it gets. I've been here for 20 days now, and that's when I realize that there are trees I can chop right outside of my house. With that, the raft is almost done, but it starts raining very heavily. I rush back home, the typhoon intensifies, and I lose the roof over my head. As always, when anything bad happens, it means the monkey is not too far, and I have to use my big stick to save him from the rubble. Him and I definitely had some ups and downs, but now we are officially friends. I get to name him, and I keep it to the default name, Bub. I just add a little heart to it. I still have so much to do, fix my house, finish the raft, but at least I'm not alone. I have Bub with me, and I can even see him on this portrait every time I open the pause menu. So far, I am loving this game. Yes, the controls and some of the mechanics can be clunky or convoluted. The hardware had its limitations, but it still looks charming, and I'm seriously looking forward to knowing what will happen next with the story and my little monkey friend. There is a real sense of exploration, discovery, you learn as you make mistakes, the challenge is well balanced, and I think it's a great example, a great foundation of what a survival game should be like. But now, let's come back to 2025 with Survival Kids, exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2. Just so you can set your expectations accordingly, this is $50 or 66 Canadian. Let's launch the game, and one of the first things I see here is that there is local co-op, game share, and an online mode. I get the impression they want to encourage you playing with friends, but I will be playing by myself. Before diving in, I can customize my character, which is great, and I see that more options will unlock as I progress. When I'm ready, the game starts with the lighthouse keeper narrating the story. It all started with 4 kids, well, just one in my case, who found an old map in an attic, decided to find where it led, but lacking in skills and preparation, ended up stranded on Lesson Lagoon. What are the odds of ending up on an island named and built to be a tutorial? Plus, I even have the voice of the lighthouse keeper to guide me and tell me what to do each step of the way.
Well, I'm glad you made it. Sorry about your raft, though. You okay? Maybe try moving around a bit.
I learn how to walk, jump, do this sign to request help from the friends I don't have, and then it's time to gather resources. It's my lucky day, I have an axe and a pickaxe already. Tools are being selected automatically, I just need to press Y frantically to chop. Next is an interesting mechanic, but there is no inventory here. You just grab the planks or stones in your hands, you can carry up to 3 small items of the same type, or 1 large item like these logs, which they recommend carrying with friends to be faster and save on stamina, so I won't be able to try that. But then you just drop off all of the items in these boxes for crafting. What I'm getting from this, it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing, just what they were going for, but they kept it very simple, so you could easily play with friends and kids who may not necessarily be experienced with video games. No complicated inventory or crafting menus to interact with, you just pick up something, drop it off in a box, and once all the materials are there, the thing will build itself. After building the ramp, I get to a new area where I build a base camp and this climbing net. However, I do not seem to have enough stamina to climb. Oh my gosh, what will I do?
If you want to climb up that net, you should get some food inside you. Build up your strength. See what you can find.
Thank you, Lighthouse Keeper. What would I do without you? I put some fruits in the cooking pot at the camp, wait a few seconds, and these meals come out that I can eat to increase my stamina. I finally climb the net, and up there is this treasure stone, which needs to be brought back to the camp. To do that, I have to repair this bridge, And I know we're still on Lesson Lagoon, but you will notice that there are pretty much just 4 materials in this game: lumber, logs, stone, and vines. So I'm just going from one place to the next, mindlessly chopping trees, breaking rocks, dropping them in boxes. I bring the treasure stone back to the camp, explore a bit more, put a few items on a wait-activated switch to open a door, and then I find some sort of elevator. Before I can use the elevator, I need to bring the base camp with me. So I return to the camp, pack the camp. Now I have this one big thing I can carry slowly by myself, and I make it all the way back to the elevator. I set the base camp in this new location, and I find my broken raft. I'm not a boat or ship expert by any means. I think this is a few tiers above what you would typically call a raft, but the game is calling it a raft, so I'll be doing the same. Anyway, now I need to find the sail, which is stuck in the ground and requires a combined stamina of 6 to dig out. Again, probably easier with friends, but I make some food, do it myself, fix the raft, pack up my base camp, carry my base camp to the raft, and that's the end of Lesson Lagoon. After completing an area, there is a star rating. I was 14 seconds short of getting 2 stars for the time, but I got 1, and I also got 1 star for finding one of the 3 treasure stones. I believe that this should add some replay value to the game, where you're incentivized to revisit previous islands, try to find everything, and manage your time efficiently to get the best score. Again, probably better with friends. I don't know if the gameplay is exciting enough to make me want to come back, but I think that this idea has potential. So the treasure stones you find are lighting up this old lighthouse. I still have no clue who the lighthouse keeper is. Maybe it is this bird. And once there is enough light, I should be able to find my way out of the storm. Until then, I'm very lucky. I get to choose the destination of my next shipwreck, so I can prepare mentally, and I'm going to Fish-A-Lot Island. After building the base camp again, I discover plans for a fishing rod. I have to physically carry the plants to the camp, where I can then drop the materials to craft the rod. I cast it near the shadow of a fish. When it bites, I pull, and I need to release the button once in a while to prevent the line from breaking. It is a very simple fishing mechanic, and there are various types of fish to discover with an encyclopedia to complete. When it comes to cooking, it doesn't make a difference. The fish is giving me the same dish as the fruits from earlier. Because I've been cooking a lot, I've been rewarded with a chef hat, and stay tuned to see me wearing it on our next island. Meanwhile, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I'm on a game show more than on a remote island. And I don't mean Survivor or any of those where they're actually trying to survive in harsh conditions, but a more casual show where contestants get to do little challenges or puzzles. I'm never in any real actual danger on this island. This climbing net with all of its colors looks like it was either bought from a store or made by the crew preparing the show, more than a makeshift net crafted by a kid. There is always a base camp with all of my amenities, there's a narrator, you're meant to be playing as a team, and all of the puzzles and switches, the way everything is orchestrated, feels like a game show, something that's prepared very meticulously, and there's absolutely no survival elements. Where are all the tigers trying to kill me? The mushrooms messing up with my controls, the monkeys stealing my stuff? This game has absolutely no business having survival in its name. So I am making progress on this second island. There are a few puzzles with the fishing rod that can be used to grab items from a distance, genius. But overall, it feels very similar to the first island, requiring me to move the base camp over and over again, still using the same 4 crafting materials. Then I get to the broken raft, which somehow ended up at the very top of this island. It was probably put there by the production crew. Everything is so formulaic and predictable, a complete departure from the original Survival Kids. As promised, here's my chef outfit. Now let's go to island number 3, Springy Shores. Same thing, get materials, build the base camp, but now instead of fruit or fish, we eat clams. There is also a trampoline. It is crafted the same way as the fishing rod, by carrying the plants to the base camp. The trampoline can be moved around and used to jump to higher places, which adds another dimension to the puzzles and a bit of platforming. This third island takes me longer to complete than the previous ones. There is more to it, but still I'm always just dreading the next step. because I know I will have to carry my base camp around, bring back the treasure stones, move the trampoline, find the sail to repair the raft. It is simply not that enjoyable or challenging. With the 3 jungle islands completed, my next shipwreck is planned for Windy Cove. That sounds very exciting, but you know what? I think it's time for me to quit and ask the producer to send me back home. Honestly, this new Survival Kids was a big disappointment. Well, I don't know if disappointment is the right word, since my expectations were not too high in the first place. It's a shame since this series is so special. Like I said, it is one of the pioneers of the survival genre, and while the older games do have their flaws, instead of looking back at what worked and what didn't to try to improve, they just looked at what was popular at the moment. Survival games are popular, but they didn't even look at other survival games. It seems like they took inspiration from cozy games like Luma Island, Fae Farm, and sure, you could call the new Survival Kids cozy. The controls are responsive, it plays well, looks fine. I've not encountered any bugs or anything like that, but it is extremely safe and generic. There is a place for a game like this if you're looking for something casual to play with friends, and it does support the game share feature, which lets you play together even if not everybody has the game, but still, it is really hard for me to recommend. I would have probably looked at it differently if they had picked at least a different name, but this Survival Kids completely destroyed any hope I had left of seeing this series make a proper comeback, and it is sad. On the bright side, with this, we also got the Game Boy Color version on the NSO. I know this is not for everyone, but if you don't mind playing older games, you will have a much more enjoyable time for a lot cheaper. Let me know what you think. What is your history with this series? Do you have a favorite game? Have you tried the new one? And if so, I sincerely hope you enjoyed it more than I did. Before we leave, this week, myself and many other content creators have been fundraising for Make-A-Wish International, which grants wishes to children living with critical illness. Right now, they're offering 31 games across 3 bundles that you can get with a donation. It's a much better value than Survival Kids. So check it out with the link in the description before they're gone. There is a chance that some of the bundles will change or go away over time. Thank you so much. Leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.